and interested to see. Red lights are on, interested to see if Simon Hill can make progress. And away they go down towards Copse Corner for the first time. Poor start from, I think that was Ryan Sayer from the second row. So I think, Ian, when they get to you, it'll be Max Walsh in the lead, I'm pretty sure. But Ryan Sayer, I think, will be a bit further back down.
It's James Colburn, actually, who's in the lead. So James Colburn, he was on the front row, has made a great start. So he's leading coming into Beckett. And it's Verco in second position. A little battle there between, it looks like Walsh and Hill's already up to third place. So the 8-time champion up to third place. Sayer did get a poor start, but he's making a recovery drive up to fourth as he go down the Wellington Straight. But in the lead, it's James Colburn.
So into Brooklands for the first time, onto the brakes, all still closely bunched. Will James Colburn be able to hold on to it? We're looking for the pink and black car. Yes, it is. And it's blue in second place. So that's Simon Verco, I think, in second. And then in third place, a red car. Now, you mentioned Simon Hill being up there. So of the many red cars, it might well be Simon Hill still in that third place as they come from behind the BRDC clubhouse, and it is 28 leading James Colburn, and in second place Simon Verco. Where is Max Walsh? He's in fourth place, number 92, from pole position, and then it is indeed Simon Hill, the multiple champion, in third.
As they come towards me, the front two very, very close together. So Colburn has retained that lead, but he's got a charging Verco behind him. So those two have made a little bit of a break of it. Hill slightly untidy under braking, so slightly compromised through his exit through Beckett's, but recovers it well from Walsh and Sayer. So the front five exactly the same. A little bit of a gap now for James Colburn, who's attempting to get away.
Yes, well, like in every other race, what he's trying to do is stop the second place car having a decent tow down the long Wellington Straight. He's done a pretty good job of it, but I'm sure that the second place car will still get a good tow at that distance. So trying very hard, James Colburn in the lead. Second place is Simon Verco. Simon Hill in third place, but Simon Hill not jumping forward to close the gap on Simon Verco. So it's still third place for Hill, fourth for Max Walsh. Now, he's not made a move yet on Simon Hill. He lost some places. Maybe it was Walsh that made that poor start that I saw as they left the grid and dropped from first to fourth. But anyway, it is still James Colburn doing a good job at the head of the field. He is doing a good job at the head of the field, and he's the first driver into the 107s. 107.989, the current fastest lap for James Colburn, but he is certainly not shaking off Verco in second position. So Verco about half a second behind, then a gaggle of four Golfs together, led by the 8-time champion Hill, followed by Walsh, followed by Sayer, and then followed by number 57, Chris Webb. So back down into Brooklands once again, and will James Colburn be able to hang on to this lead under the increasing pressure from Simon Verco? They turn into the left-hander. Distance between them about the same as last time. Simon Hill now is a bit of a cork in a bottle because he's got three cars behind him. He's in third, so fourth, fifth and sixth all very close together as they come through the long right-hander at Luffield, and then through Woodcote to complete another lap. And it's still Colburn leading from Verco in second place, Hill, then Walsh, and in fourth place, and looking fairly racy, is number 61, Ryan Sayer. And then behind Sayer at the back of that group, battling for third place, is the 57 car of Chris Webb.
Yeah, the front two definitely making a break for it. So it's still James Colburn in the lead, and it's still Simon Verco in second place, about half a second behind them, but they are leaving Hill for Den. Hill made a slight error again coming into Beckett's, really under pressure now from Walsh, and Sayer is looking very racy behind Walsh, so he's right up his bootleg going up the Wellington Straight, and it's still Webb in sixth, but the front two covered by half a second.
Into the pits comes the Scirocco of Mark Robinson, which was a three-cylinder Scirocco, by the sound of it, misfiring terribly badly. In the leaders into Brooklands, and a little bit closer, I'd say, here, with Simon Verco just closing up a little bit on James Colburn. In fourth place, Simon Hill under great pressure from Max Walsh. And in fact, behind Max Walsh is the Ryan Sayer car, but then behind him there's a bit of a gap opened up now, so the three battling for fourth place now, and the driver losing a little bit of ground is 57 Chris Webb, who's lost touch now with Sayer. Rest of the field coming through, but Colburn it is doing a good job at the front.
He is, but Simon Verco is coming back at him very, very quick through Copse and into Beckett's. That he that's noticeably closer than it's been through the rest of this race. So it is James Colborne still in the lead, but Simon Verco putting him under a lot of pressure, checking the line. Simon Verco gets a great run out of Beckett, and down the Wellington Straight he is right up with James Colborne. Then it's the three behind him, led by the current champion, and then followed by Sayer et al, and going back down towards the complex.
So is Verco going to put up an effort down into Brooklands? Good overtaking spot if you can get your car in the right place. They're side by side, and he was in the right place. Simon Verco on the inside for Brooklands, perfect line, and outbreaks the former leader James Colborne. So a change of lead. Simon Verco leads now from James Colborne, and just to tell you, into the pits came Spencer Beale, number 64, in his Golf. So another possible retirement there, but now it's the other way around. The gap between them is about the same, and James Colborne goes for the inside into Copse Corner. Can he brake late enough to take the line through Copse? They turn in, and he does. So the lead changes again. James Colborne now leading Simon Verco as they head up to you at Beckett's.
It is, and that means that the gap between third place man Simon Hill has reduced. But anyway, Colborne on the outside, and on the inside then Verco, but the pink and black number 28 machine retains the lead going through Beckett's. Both get, in fact, again, Verco gets a slightly better line, gets on the inside line, and again gets a good toe down the straight, but Hill is closing on both. He is making a gap between the fourth and the fifth men, Walsh and Sayer.
Well, of course, with these two battling so hard at the front, Simon Hill's got a golden opportunity to close the gap, because they'll be looking out at each other and making sure they defend lines and so on. Into Brooklands they come, and as you say, yes, Simon Hill, and he's dragging the other two with him. Walsh and Sayer are going as well, so it'll be 5 for the lead shortly, I think, as they come through Luffield. In fact, it already is, really, 5 in a line as they come out of Luffield through Woodcote Corner to complete lap 6, and it's the pink and black of Colborne leading from Verco, from Hill, from Walsh, and in bringing up the rear of that group, but still very much in touch, is Ryan Sayer as they turn into Copse Corner.
So this quintet of Golf Mark 5s that head towards the very, very lucky spectators at Beckett's, and it's still James Colborne, number 28, in the lead, and it's still Simon Verco in second place, but Simon Hill is noticeably closer than he's been before, breaks well for Beckett's, but the 5 very, very close together. Slight mistake there from Simon Verco as he exited Beckett's, but he's just about managed to recover it, but Hill is closer now, and you are absolutely right, Alistair. Walsh and Sayer are being dragged along by Hill.
They are indeed, yes. They're getting a little bit of an advantage with the aerodynamic toe, so all of them closing up now as they come down once again into Brooklands, and it is really 5 for the lead now, with James Colborne leading, Simon Verco still in second place. Simon Hill now has an opportunity perhaps to have a nibble at Simon Verco as they come through, and maybe that nibble will come at Copse actually, because he'll get a good run through Luffield, not so close that he needed to back off, and then it's Walsh and Sayer, so let's watch them down into, yeah indeed, Simon Hill does move slightly to the right into Copse, but in the end stays behind, and if anything the first two have closed up a little bit. Verco has closed in on Colborne.
It's now the top 3 that are really close together. Interestingly, it's the third and fourth place cars that were fastest on that lap, with Walsh in fourth place having fastest lap now, so the first 5 really together. Colborne and Verco have definitely been caught now by Hill, who very wide on exit through Beckett's, but he's made a good run out of the corner, and so's Walsh. So the first 5 thrown together by only a second and a half, Alistair.
Yeah, the first 4 last time around, pretty much a second between them, so very, very close down at this end of the circuit, so waiting for them now. Here they come into Brooklands, and it's still Colborne leading from, as it was before, Simon Verco in second. Now the gap is opened up between Verco and Simon Hill, so it's a piece of elastic between these 5 cars, and stretches and tightens up as they come round different parts of the circuit, but it's still Colborne leading, Verco in second, Hill third, Walsh fourth, and Sayer fifth, and we've got 10, just under 11 minutes remaining in this race. Into Copse they go, and still the same order, and still the case is that Verco is closer to Colborne than he is to Hill.
Absolutely right. Not even halfway through this race. What a fantastic scrap between the first 5. But yeah, you are absolutely right. Colborne and Verco are making a break for it. Hill has slightly dropped back. Walsh is, rather than attacking Hill, has got Sayer right beneath him. And Sayer is about to go past him onto the Wellington Straight. So that is for position. 4th place there for Ryan Sayer, coming back through the field. But the first 2 attempting to make a break for it.
So we'll see whether Sayer can hold on to that fourth place down into the tight confines of Brooklands and Luffield. They're very, very close as they turn into the left-hander for fourth and fifth places. They're side by side as they turn into Luffield, but then they sort themselves out. And it looks like, to me, Walsh has gone back up into fourth place. We'll wait for confirmation when they come round to this side of the circuit, and it is indeed a battle for the lead now, with Simon Hill in a bit of no man's land between the front two and the two behind him. It's Colburn and Verco, but Verco less than 2/10 behind, then Hill, and it is Walsh back up into fourth.
Yeah, back into the 108s for this gaggling bunch of Golfs, which clearly, I think that the battles between them, and he was a little bit scruffy into there. The leader, James Colburn, got on the curbs as he came into Beckett's, just about recovered it, but that means that Simon Vercoe is a lot close to him as a result and has got a good toe down the straight. Hill is a further half second behind him, and then the battling Walsh and Sayer. Walsh is back into fourth position down the Wellington Straight, but Simon Vercoe making great strides.
Let's see, can he stamp his authority on the race? Not yet. He's still in second place, but very close it is as they turn into Luffield. Just can't find a way past. They're so evenly matched, these cars. Nobody seems to have an advantage of speed or cornering. They're obviously built to the series regulations, so they are very closely matched. And through comes Colburn, Verco. Simon Hill now has been caught by Max Walsh, and in fact Ryan Sayer has been dropped a little bit. He's still close, but not actually challenging. And the challenge on Simon Hill is now coming from Max Walsh. And the challenge on the leader, Colburn, is coming from Simon Verco.
Absolutely. 8 minutes to go of this session. And Colburn and Verco, as they've been from the very start of this race, leading the field round. And Verco is very, very close now to Colburn. Gets a slightly better exit from Beckett, as Walsh and Sayer do in the run-up towards Hill. But again, Verco can't get quite close enough to Colburn on the straight. He's trying to get a toe, but again, I don't think he's close enough for a move, Alistair.
No, it's the same down here. He's close, but not close enough just to try and do an outbreak or a dive up the inside. Going through into Luffield now, completing the coming around to complete the 11th lap with 7.5 minutes remaining in the race. Through Woodcote Corner they will come to cross the timing line again, and a bigger gap first to second than we've had all race. And in fact, Simon Hill and Max Walsh have now closed up with Simon Verco again. So it's definitely that piece of elastic. James Colburn leads by nearly 0.6 of a second from Simon Verco, from Simon Hill, from Max Walsh, and Ryan Sayer in fifth.
It really is nip and tuck. You just wonder whether Colburn can stretch out anything beyond half a second. I think that's the biggest gap he's had over Simon Verco for the entire race. Into Beckett's once more. Very, very tight lines from all five. All come out of the corner very, very well. But consequently, that means that none of them are close enough to make a challenge. All go onto the Wellington Straight, heading towards the complex. But it looks as though, again, there's a slight gap between all five vehicles.
And just to mention before they appear down at this end, in sixth place is 57 Chris Webb, and in seventh place is 83 Paul Blackburn. But the leaders are back here again, and the leader, and it's all five together again now. So those couple of little gaps that had appeared have all disappeared again, and once again James Colburn is leading a train of five cars with Verco, Hill, Walsh and Sayer right behind as they go down into Copse Corner. And you have to think, well, how is any one of them going to get past another one? They're all so evenly matched, unless of course they're saving their tyres or brakes for the last couple of laps of the race. We'll wait and see.
Absolutely, and they're not far from lapping the tail end of the field as well, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But into Beckett's one more time, so it remains James Colburn in the lead. In second place, Simon Verco. Third place, Simon Hill. And then Max Walsh and Ryan Sayer. And the gap looks very, very similar to what it was on the previous lap. So just 2 seconds between the top five, but around 4/10 between each particular car.
Well, it's been that 2 seconds covering the top five. Your sheet, as you call it, has been for the whole of the race, really.
I think it's been superseded by your elastic band.
Well, elastics and sheets. Yes, as they come through Luffield, they're all in a long line of 5 cars, and as you say, they are starting to close in on the slower cars that they'll need to lap there. But there's not a bunch of slower cars, so it'll be a fairly straightforward, I think, for them to get through. Colburn leads from a rejuvenated Verco, who's closed up a little bit on Colburn, and in turn has slightly dropped Simon Hill, who's under real pressure now from Max Walsh in 4th place, and then Ryan Sayer in 5th place. The fastest lap still sitting with Max Walsh, who was on pole position, of course, don't forget, and his lap time of 107.888.
Yeah, good driving from number 8 to let them through at Beckett's. Simon Verco, actually, his fastest lap of the race was the previous lap, 107.999. but only a tenth quicker than James Colburn. And what that means on track is that 3 or 4 tenth margin between each of the top 5 vehicles is still in place, and it's still exactly the same order as before.
So the next car they'll need to lap is the sole remaining Scirocco in the race, the other one having retired right at the start of the race with a misfire. The first 5 coming through Luffield now, so we've got 4 minutes. It'll be about 4 minutes when they get to the line. They're doing just over 107, so we'll probably get another 3 laps depending on when they cross the line. But no change to the order, and they're all pretty equidistant now. So Simon Verco is no longer harrying James Colburn, and Max Walsh is no longer harrying Simon Hill. But 5 pretty equidistantly spaced, but still only covered by 2.5 seconds.
Absolutely right, but half a second between each car as Colburn comes again down to Beckett's. Verco not close enough for a challenge, and consequently Hill isn't close enough to challenge either. So Hill, Walsh, I think the closest, Alistair, is Sayer behind Walsh again. So those two have had a great battle for 4th place throughout the race, but nobody can get close to Colburn at the front.
No, he's really controlled this race, hasn't he? There's just that one moment down here at between Brooklands and Luffield where Simon Verco managed to get ahead, but then immediately lost it again as they turned from left to right. And similar situation now. Simon Hill no longer as close to Simon Verco as Verco is to Colburn, so that front 2 closing back up again. 15 laps will have been completed when they cross the line now, and Colburn, Verco, Hill still the same. Walsh, as you say, Walsh putting a little bit more pressure on Simon Hill down into Copse Corner. They turn in and head off on yet another lap, and a long way back to 6th place, which is the 57 of Chris Webb.
By my reckoning, we've got another 3 laps to go, including this one. Verco a little bit closer now to Colburn coming through Beckett's. Let's see how they both round the corner. 2 very, very tidy lines, but if anything, Simon Verco got a better exit, so he's a little bit closer onto Wellington Straight than he's been last couple of laps. Similarly, Walsh is closer to Hill, so this elastic band effect that you've introduced into commentary, Alistair, really is working extremely well as a commentating device.
Well, don't attribute me with elastic band. That was Neville Hay many years ago. Neville always talked about the elastic bands. We've got side by side, and Simon Hill has lost 3rd place to Max Walsh. He managed to get through, but then Max Walsh has run wide through Luffield. The initial move came on the inside of Brooklands for Max Walsh, but then of course he was on the outside for Luffield, but he's held on to it. So a change for 3rd with Simon Hill doing his best. He's gone down the inside of the circuit. He's not got an overlap though, so he's had to drop in behind. So a change of order there. We've got Colburn and Verco at the head of the field, 0.4 of a second apart, then Walsh, Hill and Sayer.
And onto the penultimate lap, and it's clear that there's 2 gaggles of golfs now. There's 2 separate races, that for 1st and 2nd, and the second group of 3rd, 4th and 5th. So it remains Colburn, and that's where he's been the entire race. He's been harried by Verco throughout, and Verco yet again gets a better line out of Beckett. But Hill is back up with Walsh, and he is right under Walsh's boot lid as they go down the Wellington Straight. Sayer in close attendance as well. That 3rd, 4th and 5th battle very close indeed. Well,
they're coming round to start their last lap, so this is last chance saloon for anybody that wants to take a place. The top 2, Colburn and Verco, still exactly the same. In fact, down at this side of the circuit, Walsh had a little bit of an advantage over Hill and Sayer, but that's closed up a bit as they go through Luffield. but it'll be Colborne who breaks the timing beam first. But now Simon Verco is really starting to put even more pressure on the leader, and Max Walsh under pressure from Simon Hill, but I don't think either of them are close enough to challenge into Copse. No, they're not. They stay in that order. But of the 5 of them, I think you'll see that Walsh and Hill are the closest.
Absolutely right. Just a quarter of a second though between the first 2 cars. They come into Beckett's for the final time. So can Colburn hold on? He's held on since lap 1. Verco again gets a slightly better line, better braking into Beckett's, but a good exit there from Colburn, and he's managed to get away down Wellington Straight. Walsh is still third, Hill is right behind him, but I fear Colburn has now won the race. Let's see what happens down to the complex, Alistair.
Yeah, unless he makes a mistake. He certainly seems very assured for the whole of this race. So down into the left-hander for the last time, and it is still pink and black leading. So James Colburn leads from the all-blue of Simon Verco in second place. Third place, it's still Max Walsh from Simon Hill, and then in fifth place with the watching brief is Ryan Sayer. Coming round to take the checkered flag. Yes, it's being readied. So James Colburn comes across the line, checkered flag goes out, a win for James Colburn in the first round of the Production GTI Championship of 2025, and in second place Simon Verco. Then it's Max Walsh who beats reigning champion Simon Hill to third place, Hill fourth, and Ryan Sayer in fifth, and only now we're getting the rest of the field coming across. Those 5 had really pulled away by 14 seconds from the sixth place car of Chris Webb, and in seventh place is 83 Paul Blackburn. But those top 5, it could have been any one of them took the win actually. It's just a case of they couldn't pass each other, which is a shame. So a win for number 28, James Colborne, 18 laps completed, a winning margin of 0.282 of a second. Second place number 11, Simon Verco. Third, 92 Max Walsh from pole position, and he got the fastest lap of the race with a 107.888. In fourth place number 1 Simon Hill, fifth 61 Ryan Sayer, sixth place 57 is Chris Webb, in seventh number 83 Paul Blackburn, eighth 22 Adam Hance, ninth number 88 is Darren Abbott, and completing the top 10 is number 46, and these are all in Golfs. 46 is John Beale.